Hello.
Hello. Wow.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's virtual product roadmap meetup. My name is John Rivera. I am the Director of Product Management here at Issuetrak. Co-hosting with me today is our CEO, Dan Flowers. And also with us is Sarah Buckholtz and Paula McDonough. They're keeping an eye on chat for us and making sure everything goes smoothly with the stream.
Yeah, thank you, John. And thanks for the introduction. As you said, I'm Dan Flowers. I'm Issuetrak CEO. So before we get started today, I just want to take a second to introduce Issuetrak to some of you who may not know who we are. So Issuetrak, we're a software development company. Our product is called Issuetrak as well. We've been developing Issuetrak software and tracking software for a better part of 30 years in the Hampton Roads area. But Issuetrak as a platform is most predominantly defined as a help desk application, but it has so many varied usages. We see IT help desk usage to help troubleshoot help desk tickets or track assets. We also see companies like apartment management companies track maintenance tickets. A common also great usage we see is using Issuetrak to track complaints such as patient complaints in healthcare. Anything you need to track, Issuetrak is the application that can help you and your company be more efficient. Today, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about our product roadmap and a number of different things. I'm going to let John introduce what's coming up first.
Sure. So within Issuetrak, you have myself and Dan and our Director of Development, Lisa Cockrell. The three of us make up the product team. And our role within the company is to examine every piece of feedback that comes in, whether it's external or internal, and determine what features go into the application. We ourselves have long-term goals that we want to accomplish and a vision for the product and where we see ourselves going. So every piece of feedback we receive gets viewed through that lens, as well as kind of the mantra of providing the maximum amount of good to the most amount of customers. Mm-hmm. So it can be a little bit difficult to challenging to juggle the number of requests we receive kind of through those principles. And sometimes that means that not everything we get as feedback goes into the product. And even the things we do get as feedback, it takes a little bit of time for that stuff to actually get into what you see in the application. But at the end of the day, our goal is to ensure that every release of Issuetrak is delivering value to our customers. So I'm going to go ahead and try to share my screen here and show off a little bit of stuff as far as our roadmap and how you can actually go about submitting product feedback.
Yeah, while he's doing that, product feedback for Issuetrak is critically important. We try to take a major focus on listening to our customer requests and make sure that Issuetrak is always providing the value and the utility needed.
Exactly. So here's our website. So if you come to our website and you want to see, where do I go to submit product feedback? The easiest way to do that is to scroll down to the bottom here to our footer, and under the product subheading, you'll see the product feedback link. So if you click this, it'll take you to a pretty straightforward form that you can fill out with some information. Obviously, as far as the description of what you're submitting, the more details you give us, the better. It'll make it easier for us. Once this gets submitted, it kicks off a series of workflows and processes internally that we follow to make sure that everyone has visibility to what's coming in. You should hear back from me very shortly after submitting feedback. And then depending on the nature of the request, you might also hear back from support. Let's say if it's for a feature that might already exist, or a bug you may have accidentally uncovered, or even a feature that exists that's in a version of Issuetrak that you haven't upgraded to yet. Those are some examples of why support might reach out to somebody based off of a feedback request. So after that comes in, we get all the feedback. Like I said, the product team reviews everything. We expand on it, see if it aligns with our vision, and really take it from there. So this is the feedback form. If you have feedback today that you want to submit, or if you come up with something after today's webinar, definitely feel free to visit this forum and submit whatever you can. So that's the first page.
Hey, is everybody able to see John's screen? I'm not. This could just be me. Oh, now it's working. Thank you.
Cool. Okay. Well, again, if you couldn't see it, here's the form. Again, accessing it is pretty easy from the footer of our website right there, product feedback. So this is the first page I want to talk about. Next, I wanted to actually show you the roadmap. So from this page, you can get there by clicking the check out our product roadmap link here. If you land on our homepage, another quick way to get there would be to click on features and then product roadmap here. And then lastly, if you scroll down to the bottom of our site to the footer, under the product subheading, you'll see product roadmap. So I bring that up. Dan will be taking a little bit of a deeper dive into some of the individual items that are on our roadmap, some of the stuff that's upcoming. But just, at a high level, we talk about our approach to feedback and how we view the roadmap. Another link to the feedback page in case you have suggestions. Our forecast, which we usually tend to keep about 2 to 3 months out. Typically, if it's on the roadmap, we have a reasonable level of certainty of when it's coming. But as you may have noticed historically, sometimes things come on and come off based off of shifts and time schedules and scopes and things like that. But we try to usually keep it to about 2 or 3 months forward looking. And then you'll also see what we've done historically that year. And then a really cool section is you can see what we've done in past years. And this, to me, kind of really hits home our mindset about feedback and our within the past 3 or 4 year shift, we're really focusing on delivering not just on customer feedback, but ramping up what we're actually giving to our customers. Again, focusing on that value. So per year, you'll be able to see how many releases we had, how many bugs we squashed, how many feedback requests we implemented. One cool thing to keep in mind is while we may have implemented 20 feedback requests in 2020, it could have been 30, 40, 50 people that all chimed in on those same requests. So again, it's all about delivering the most amount of good that we can. And then beneath there, you'll see individual highlights, some of the cool top things we delivered that year broken out. Lastly, on this page, 2 important links I wanted to bring up were a link to be able to see past documentation on previous releases, and then the latest release notes. This link will always take you to the latest and greatest release notes for our last release. So that's just a very quick overview. Like I said, Dan is actually going to go into detail a little bit later on what's coming in April and beyond. I am going to dive in, though, on our first real big main topic of today, which is 1510 and the enhancements that are coming to the knowledge base. So UI UX, user interface and user experience improvement has been and will continue to be a very big focus for Issuetrak. We first dipped our toes into interface improvements when we introduced what we called our hierarchy changes. That's where we aligned all of our font usage, aligned spacing in the product, figured out how we wanted headings to look, things like that. Our next big step was when we introduced the Issue Hub. That was a new way to present data in an interactive table, something that we hadn't done in the product before. Our next big leap and biggest leap to date was Issuetrak 14, where you saw a revamp of the left navigation and top navigation and the introduction of the right quick menu. That was our biggest milestone as far as UI UX improvement goes. And since then, what we really have been doing is focusing spotlights on individual areas of the application that we've wanted to improve. So some recent examples include surveys. We gave the survey module a revamp. Our mobile interface received a revamp. We introduced a new feature that allows admins to view the restrictions for their site. And that interface introduced some design elements that have not been in the application before. So with 1510, our spotlight has now shifted towards the knowledge base. Now, it's still in active development. 1510 isn't fully ready for me to dive into screen by screen, but obviously we know what's coming, and I'll be able to give you a tiny preview here in a moment. But as far as what you can expect, right off the bat, some improvement for performance, especially when you get to screens that have tables that list out articles for you, a streamlined interface that puts the most important information you want to know at the top of the screen rather than at the bottom. We've reduced clutter in the tables that we show on screen. A really good example of that is how we previously showed knowledge-based article restrictions versus how we're going to show them in 1510. It's much more refined, much more streamlined, less confusing. And then overall, a kind of card-based design aesthetic that gives knowledge base a more modern feel. And then on top of that, we're also introducing 2 new features that I'll talk about here in just a moment. But first, what I wanted to kind of show off here is a little bit of before and after for you. So I'm going to bring up, hopefully you all can see that. Here's a screenshot of what your kind of average knowledge-based article looks like in Issuetrak today. If you have a little bit more of a zoomed in screen, then when you first bring this up, you actually won't be able to see much of the article. You're going to see a lot of these kind of ancillary details at the top, especially if you do have restrictions. This table is filled out. You'll have to scroll a decent amount to actually be able to get to the contents of your article. Well, in 1510, this is what that exact same article will look like. As I mentioned before, most important information you need to see is going to be at the top. So your category, article title, when it was last updated, to make sure that your customers, or that you are providing the most updated information to your customers. And then the actual meat of the article, again, towards the top of the screen, so you don't have to scroll as far to see the information you need to provide to customers on a call or in the email that you're writing. And then beneath that, you'll have your other details, your attachments, details, tags. This particular article doesn't have any restrictions, but if it did, you'd be able to see, again, a more refined, less cluttered table. Throughout the screenshot, you can see, again, that kind of that card aesthetic I mentioned, where information is more logically kind of broken out with easy to read headers. Just everything looks and feels more modern and is organized in a much better fashion. So I mentioned that 2 new features are coming. I can't show you them just yet, but they're pretty straightforward, and I can and pretty quickly describe them for you. And one of them is semi-visible on the screenshot, actually. So the first one is a one-click archive button. This is something that several of our customers have asked us for, and we're not necessarily introducing a concept of archive to the application. What this is doing, it's kind of automating a process that we and many of our customers were already doing manually. So when you click on that archive button, 3 things are going to happen. The word archive will be appended to the article title at the front. The article will be marked private, and the article will be categorized as archive. What's really neat about that is when you first click that button, the process will actually look to see if you already have an archive category or archives or archived. If either 3 of those categories already exist, it'll place the article there for you. And if it doesn't exist, we'll create the category and put it there so that all of your archived articles can stay nicely organized. The second feature that's coming is called subscriptions. Again, I can't show it to you, but it's something that customers have been asking for quite some time, and we're happy to finally be able to deliver that for you. So what that means is you'll be able to subscribe to individual articles to get updates when those articles are edited. So if someone edits or adds new information to an article and you're subscribed to it, you'll receive an email notification alerting you to that update has taken place. So yeah, one-click archive and subscriptions are also coming to the knowledge base with 1510. Now, before I leave the screen and turn it over to Dan, I would be remiss if I didn't talk real quickly about an oldie but goodie feature that I just wanted to bring up while I was here. If you have a knowledge base that has information that you use every day on a phone call, or every day when you're writing an email, something you're constantly having to refer to for whatever reason, please do not hesitate to bookmark that article. That gives you one-click access to not just an article, but any screen in the application that you might want. Just about every screen in Issuetrak has this little bookmark icon here, and if you click that, it'll drop a link to that page in the lower left, and again, give you that one-click instant access to anywhere in the application, which for people who are supporting folks on the phones that need instant access to a knowledge base article they use every day, that can be invaluable. So that's my soapbox on bookmarks. So at this point, that's 12 or 1510. That should be coming here in the near future, again with a spotlight on improving the interface of the knowledge base. I'll go ahead and turn the floor over to Dan to talk about upgrades and installs, Issuetrak 16, and what is coming next in the future.
Thanks, John. With the knowledge base, with its improved performance, I think it's clearly going to really help. But some of its existing features, like anonymous access, so that you can make it public for your customers and not have them log into the Issuetrak site. With these improvements, you might be more inclined to leverage that functionality, put it out there for your customers to get to, and increase that knowledge, hopefully helping you avoid case creation in the first place. So it's important to note that these improvements come from upgrading Issuetrak. Now, I know I have an audience here that might be mixed from our premise customers and our cloud customers. Cloud customers have the wonderful benefit of having updates provided to them on a schedule. Premise customers would love to see you interact and upgrade to make sure you get an opportunity to explore the improvements to the KB, make sure you're getting all of our wonderful updates, our security enhancements, and our performance enhancements. We do focus a lot of our release cycle on making sure our customers' needs are met. But in between, we're always improving the product. We're either improving the user experience, adding new feature functionality, improving its performance, as well as enhancing its security. Now, security is a big thing for everyone. And to make sure your application is as secure as it can possibly be, you've got to get those upgrades. Now, we do a lot of upgrades. We provide a lot of releases, and that's just to continue to enhance the value of the application. But make sure you're at least upgrading once or twice a year to make sure that you get all these improvements. So that brings us off to the next release we'll see after 1510, which will be 16. John, if you could scroll it to at least the little April bubble box.
There you go.
So this one we're calling License Validation Service. Fundamentally, this is hopefully going to improve the lives of our premise customers' experiences with the licensing of our product. Right now, for our premise customers, if you make a change, add an agent or add something like the asset management module, you have to contact sales, go through the negotiation process, and then we send you a key, and you're responsible for that key. And you've got to apply that key, you've got to remember that key, and you've got to hold on to it. And sometimes that can be problematic. We want to make the world a lot easier for our customers. Essentially, one click. No longer will the install process or the upgrade process be hindered by, do I have my key today? Do I know if I have my site ID? We've heard from our customers and we've listened. This needs to be a little bit better, a little bit faster. Previous upgrades this year made our deployments very, very fast, making that iterative process of upgrading much easier. This is a continued step into fixing those bottlenecks. What you'll see in the application with 16 is the ability for Issuetrak to phone home to its licensing server and just instantly apply the changes. So when you add agents, instead of having to worry about tossing the key around, getting somebody with the appropriate permissions, you'll go to the license screen page and just hit update license. That'll bring the license in, apply immediately, and you're off. Nothing more has to be done. It should really improve the process. And the same goes for our cloud customers. You'll be able to click the button and instantly see the change you've negotiated with your account manager. So if you're going up or down in licensing, adding modules, or testing features, you're one button press away, as opposed to having to wait for us to apply it or have sales make changes. So we're really looking forward to what this will bring. It'll also help make sure that if you're deploying test sites, those are easily deployed. Our most recent past upgrade also deployed the ability to deploy test sites, and this will make that also quickly achievable. We encourage our premise customers to leverage test sites, because if you're going to want to see how changes affect your configuration and your data, the test site is the best way to do so. And if you would like one, don't hesitate to contact the support team. Right after the license validation service, which we'll be calling 16, we get into some really, really cool feature functionality. Everything you see currently proposed in our Beyond category is customer driven. The quick notes is, the best way I can describe it or to have it recognized by you would be as similar to canned responses. Now, a canned response or a quick note within Issuetrak, somewhat self-explanatory. We're hoping to provide the ability for you to predefine messaging and quickly deploy it. This helps in all kinds of help desk scenarios. If you have a help desk technician who has to do continued follow-up, such as, hey, every 48 hours, we want to check in with our customer and make sure that they're getting everything they need, that they have all the questions answered, and that the ticket is moving forward. Why should you have to type that message out each time or keep it copy and pasted off of a notepad or using other tools like AutoHotkey? Instead, you'll be able to define these things within the application and define them to who should be able to see them and select them from a dropdown and pre-fill them. But we're going to make it more powerful than just slapping note text into the note. We're going to also make it token driven, meaning you'll be able to define a token such as first name or last name or submitter within the product and have those tokens fill upon the application of the note. So if you wanted to define the note that said first name, hi, my name is Dan Flowers, I'm here to help you with your issue, the first name will auto-populate as soon as you apply the note, meaning less work for your technicians. They're able to move tickets along faster using features like this. There's many other small improvements we're going to be adding in and around quick notes, and I don't want to give too much away. It is in our Beyond category, so there's some chance for ebb and flow of how feature rich we're able to pack into this for you, but we're really, really excited about how quick notes will allow you to build responsive to your customers, build templates, make sure that escalation processes are being followed, that questions are being answered quickly, and make sure that you're able to collect all the important information necessary without much thought, training, or need for crazy amounts of documentation for process handling. The next big improvement we're going to be bringing is something near and dear to even my own heart, which is the ability to inactivate the options that you see within our table-driven fields. So for those of you who are not really close to Issuetrak, the product has the ability to give you a user-defined field, a field that you can call whatever you'd like and fill with as many options as you'd like within a dropdown. Right now, if you populate that dropdown with 50 employees, and let's say you add 5 more, so you're 55, but you move 3 to a whole nother subsidiary, you might not want those 3 employees to show any longer in that list. Right now, in order to do that in the product, you can't. You have to move them down to the bottom by changing the display order and potentially say do not use or inactive within the name of that option. And that's just not efficient. It doesn't work. So what we're adding is the ability for you to hide or rather inactivate the options within that list. What it will do is make sure that when they click the drop down, you cannot see what you don't want them to see, making the list more efficient and easier to use, but you'll still have all the historical reporting you need. So you'll still be able to search and report on all the issue field data you need without any degradation, but make sure your lists are as efficient as possible. And the next, again, another customer requested functionality is a new type of UDF we hope to offer. Right now we have table and text driven fields, but what we don't have is the ability for you to multi-select several options as it pertains to a dropdown. And that makes a lot of sense for a lot of folks in a lot of use cases where you'd want to be able to select multiple options that apply. Many different customers suggest that this could apply to assets if there's multiple pieces of equipment or multiple tools that need to be included in the ticket or multiple addresses. Any way you want to describe a UDF, when you fill those list values in, you'll be able to select all that apply as opposed to having to create multiple fields on the issue form to capture that data. This should make the issue form more condensed, more streamlined, and more performant for you. We're really excited to see what our customers are going to be able to use and do and optimize their custom screens and their custom forms within the product. Let's see. Now, we do have other things planned. And I don't want to give too much away, but hopefully this year, now it's not listed on the Beyond yet. We're hoping to see that come here real soon. But we have a new feature driven by John and one of our developers to help improve the interoperability between our features. We're going to call this feature Actions. Now, those of you who are familiar with Issuetrak are familiar with our business rules and the power that the ad automation brings. It's transformative. One thing we'd like to see is more interoperability and interaction between our own features. An example, with Actions, we're hoping to allow you to change the state of assets as a result of changes on an issue, or changes to other areas of the product, like surveys. We hope to extend Actions to allow you to trigger multiple different events within Issuetrak within one action, with one click. Similar to macros, you'll be able to be more efficient and achieve more of your process with little interaction. And we're hoping that helps make everyone more efficient. Now, we'll have more to come on how Actions plays in with the product as we dig deeper into its development, but it will transform how you interact with our application and how you leverage the features provided to you. And we're really excited for what that'll bring. Now, that kind of ends the high level coverage of the roadmap as we're putting out there right now. We are hoping to try to continue to do these types of events quarterly, but we are interested to know what kind of events you'd like to see from Issuetrak in a live kind of fashion. Now, we've done this one here, and if you like this one, please let us know. We'd love to hear your feedback if you want to hear more about our product roadmap. But also, if there's any other live events you'd like to see us do or cover. We are interested in engaging our customers, live events, webinars. We're going to be increasing them, but we want to deliver what you guys want to see. Any feedback? Let's see here. If not, that's okay. We are going to continue to engage. From here, I do want to remind everyone that if you saw something on the roadmap that you're really enjoying, I want to know more about, don't hesitate to reach out to support. They'll pass information over to John and I, and we'll make sure to get back to you. If you have features that you would like to see within the application that you didn't get a chance to share with us or put in a chat, please go to the feedback form on the product roadmap so that we can go over it. John and I will respond very quickly to make sure that we're telling you what we can and can't do and set some expectation. And we always love to hear from our customers, so don't ever hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, exactly. We have, obviously some of you are watching us from LinkedIn today, and we have our social channel there and our user group there that we encourage you to interact with us and other Issuetrak users as well. If there's any, we have 3 minutes here, so if you have a question or something you want us to to quickly throw out an answer for, flash fire answer, you have 3 minutes. But otherwise, we definitely appreciate your time for joining us today, and we're looking forward to everything we've talked about. 1510, like I said, just around the corner. All the cool features like quick notes and the UDF list updates. All these things are exciting. I can't wait till we can really start getting our hands dirty with Actions. I'm very excited with like what Dan said, the transformative nature of that. So some really, really cool, powerful stuff being cooked up right now.
Thanks, John. Well, I'm not seeing any questions come across, so we'll do what rarely happens and give people time back in their day.